Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Okay, so I'm going to work on a build here at Murkwater. In case you couldn't tell, it's raining, murky, and we're in the middle of a swamp. So this is Murkwater. I went ahead and started doing some stuff here, other than just what I needed to do to kind of get started. So what I've done is I put up the barn doors, or actually it's the warehouse doors, as the front gate, and then I started putting some junk fences around. And then what I did was I am basically using this building as part of the wall, and the building actually comes across at an angle here, for the build area. So if I actually go into the build area, you can kind of see that the build area is right here, and so I'm pretty much skirting right along it for quite a while. And then also what I did was, you can see, so I have my fence coming along through here, and I've built up this area as another exit, because over this way, someplace is over in this area, somewhere over here anyway, is where there's a checkpoint for the railroad. So I needed to be able to get over there, because anytime I get called here to defend this place or whatever, it never seems to fail that I get called over to check out the checkpoint as well. So I thought that it'd probably be a good idea to have a way to get out there. So now all I have to do is figure out how I'm going to get out there. But I wanted this exit to kind of be part of the wall, as well as on a flat surface and all that kind of stuff. And as you can tell, there's not a lot of flat surface through here, to include all of the water and everything. So what I'll have to do is figure out a way to kind of transition down into the rest of the area, and that will make it interesting as well. And so I will be putting up a fence around, and I plan on kind of mixing a little bit of everything in the fence to add to the scrappiness and whatnot. So I've got some junk fences, and excuse me, as you can tell, I've also used some of the warehouse pieces, and so I'll probably do some more warehouse pieces and everything. And I've kind of using these. I'm going to cover up the bottom with these corner pieces here, and just kind of keep along with that. And it works out pretty well to. These are some of my defensive positions that I like to make, and so it actually works out really well to put up it would be either the barn pieces or the warehouse pieces to cover that up. So yeah, I mean, gives you a nice little lip, and the turrets can still fire over it and everything like that. If this place gets attacked by super mutants, which is what it always seems to get attacked by, the super mutants generally attack over in this area, over from this direction. And so I like to have this defensive position high enough to be able to get a line of sight on them. And then I've also created this other defensive position that apparently one of the Brahmin decided they wanted to get up there. And the Brahmin were getting kind of annoying, so I put their feed troughs down here. So I may need to move that at some point as we work our way around. As you can tell, I've patched this house with the building, and what I did was I actually made it so the house itself was up off the ground. And what I've done is use some of the what do you call those? The railings or whatever, the old scrap railings. I've used those to kind of cover up the bottom, and I'll finish going around the entire thing as I do that. And I should probably move the kitchen. Maybe I'll move it inside and make that like the dining hall. But here we have the entire farm here, and I'd actually put up a recruitment beacon over. Well, it was over there, and I moved it over here. But I actually had that up and forgot about it. And right now I don't have it connected to anything because I kind of moved it around. But I kind of forgot about it, and I came here one time while I was working on my challenge build at the Spectacle Island, and there was like 25 people here and like 3 beds. And so the house that had been here was actually built when I was using mods, and all of the mod pieces were gone, and only the normal pieces were left. So I had to delete or remove all that stuff so I could put this back in there. Would have been nice if I could have moved that over, but the positioning was really kind of funky. So it was kind of hard to get that in there. So
Lost track of how many blisters I got.
but it's in there. It's going to be serviceable, and I'm actually pretty happy with it being in there, kind of janky and ugly like. I mean, it is going to be pretty scrappy area. So, and as you can see, I've patched up the entranceway. So there's a bit of an entrance here. I may try to put a roof over the top of that. You know, maybe use the barn roof or something like that. Put that over there and kind of close it off. So I might try that. Let's go ahead and move this kitchen. Get that out of the elements. Not that it matters, but we will stick it in here, and I'm actually going to do something that I did in I did this in Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill actually allowed it um, rather easily, but stay on the ground. Don't be silly. Bunker Hill let me put it right through the wall without needing to rug glitch it. But if you get it rug glitched in there just right, you you can hide the pipes and everything. Now this wall doesn't really allot for that very well, but yeah, I think it'll work. So yeah, just suck it back up against the wall, and there you go. I'm gonna leave those rugs there for a little bit, and hopefully they'll kind of go away on their own, and I'll be able to move them at some point. But anybody that uses the rug glitch knows how that works out. So yeah, I think we'll make this kind of like the dining area, and we'll put a vendor in here, the bar, and I don't really intend on having too many more people here. But so that's what I've done so far, and let's go ahead and get started on things. And you may be wondering why I have a beta wave emitter here. So I'm actually going to do some trapping. I've never trapped anything before, but what I want is some feral ghouls. Oh, I have to have 4 pieces of Mongol dog meat, and I only have 3. Okay, so I'm not going to do any trapping at the moment, but that's fine. Um, Regardless, I feel like feral ghouls would fit in really well here, so that's why I was going to do them. And so let's just kind of have a look at what we can do, or what we need to do around this outside edge here. So we'll need a couple pieces there, a piece there for sure, and then another piece there. And I think after that will probably be good. That's covered up pretty well. So, where'd it go? There we go. So, let's, and what I find to be that works best is using this pillar. It's pretty much a tried and true method that pretty much everybody's using anymore, and so the pillar seems to work out rather well, and it's just a matter of making sure that we can get this in there where we want it, and so I want to try to get it sucked in there as much as I can, and that worked out well. And let's see if we can kind of get this one to go in there. Maybe the farther away I am, the better it'll work. Maybe give me a little bit more room of separation. I'm probably hitting on the roof. So what I might do, let's try this. To avoid the roof, we'll just sink this down a little bit. And let's see how that works. This will probably allow me to get a little bit closer, and I'm pretty sure it was probably the roof that was causing the issue before. And there we go. Alright, close that off. I'll need one or two there, and that will look good, and then one around the other side. So alright. So for those that are watching that don't know, so you use the pillar glitch. What you do is you get it close enough in proximity to the item that you're going to glitch, and then you're going to hold down your select button. So for me on a PC, it's the E key, and so you hold that down and it does a select all, and it'll select everything that is within a certain proximity, or everything that might be touching each other. So if I had a couple of these railings that were touching each other, then it would select all of those. And you also have to be careful, because you can grab items that are a bit too close that you don't want to grab, and so close that off pretty well. Alright, so we've sealed in the house pretty well. Maybe we'll put another piece in through there just to make it so you can't quite see in there quite as easily. Actually, no, I don't mind. I just don't want it to be super obvious, but I want it to look scrappy and ugly. So I think I've pulled that one off. So shall we see about doing a roof? Should be pretty simple, maybe, hopefully. And so we're actually getting some sunlight out here. Might be a bit surprising. Okay, so for the roof, do we want two pieces or just one? So I don't want it to look dopey, so let's do this. Let's do something like that, right?
Guess my good karma's paying off.
So you don't mess with the rockets. I don't know what it just attacked, but whatever attacked it did not mess around with it. So alright, so this is going to be fun, because we have to we're going to have another pillar. So this gives me an opportunity to show how you can possibly get close enough to something, and you can use two of these pillars. So what you can do is you can do like this, right? So you can offset them, and then what you do is you just get close enough, and then yes, I'm carrying too much. So I get close enough, and then what you do is, and this may not work. Okay, so we can go there, but the moment we actually start getting into the building is where we're going to run into some issues. Let's see how far back can we go? Is it a matter of height or depth? Okay, so we can actually come down a little bit, and see how low we can go. And it did not close it off. So we're running into the roof line there. We could actually go over a little ways, and so it actually looks pretty good on the other side. It's this side that looks kind of stupid. So, and just to make this part easier, we're going to put those together. And la 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 la. Alright. Okay. Pardon me. Why isn't it selecting everything? Okay, that's too close. There we go. Alright, let's try this again. I actually don't know if I want to have it that close, because, yeah, see, that's where the problem is. If I have to get that close to it, then there's a problem. So let's do this. So this actually worked out rather well. So let's go ahead and do this again. So that way we have some separation still. So I still don't have any separation. Hopefully this isn't going to cause any significant issues. So I plan on doing this in something that resembles a series. I don't have very many series of builds on my channel, and so I thought it might be kind of interesting to do one. And so I thought I would do a series on this. Oops. So apparently I have to go very high. Let's walk it over and see if we can come down. No. So we have to go very high, and that actually will get into the roof line. And it covers everything up nicely. So then what I would need to do would be to patch around the roof. You know what? That is possible, and I might actually like how that looks. So to patch around the roof, I'm going to use these pieces here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a couple different types of them, and so let's get this extra stuff out of the way, so that way when we how close do I have to be? Holy cow. Okay, so I'm still not very close. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to make this a series, and we're coming up on 20 minutes, not counting whatever I possibly edit out, but I don't want them to be too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fix this if I can, and see, we may have to go a different route in the old fixing department. See, I can't see. Uh, if you can see me, it's pretty funny because I'm actually leaning back in my chair, and as we all know, that's not really necessary. So yeah, so I'm going to fix this, patch this up, and we will continue on. So I want it to be around. We'll continue on in another episode, so that way any one episode is not too long. But we'll stop it right after we get this part done, and we'll do another episode. More than likely, I will just continue building what I'm doing now, and just start recording the next episode. So, but what I plan on doing is kind of spreading them out on how I release them, so that way I don't overwhelm you guys. I do that. I want to overwhelm you guys with what I have, and alright, so that's patched up. How's that look? Not too bad. Not great, but not horrible, right? Not great, but not horrible. And so this side, need a couple on this side, and we'll start on the back part first. So something I hardly ever do is I hardly ever use the fine controls that you use when you hold down the select button and rise up and down. In my case, use the mouse to rise up and down. Come on. Okay, I just want to get closer in because I don't want it to look. So that might not be bad. I'm only going to be able to get so close there, but that'll work up there. Come on, select. There we go. Yeah, I was having some weird issues with selecting items earlier. When I would select them, they would not really. I mean, I was having to be very exact. Like usually, it was like I would have to be right on the edge, and if I moved too much, it would actually not select them. So I had this really small little window as to where I could position my cursor to select an item, and that was very annoying, honestly. Okay, so this can't be as high up, and so we want to go in, and then we're going to go up as far as we possibly can, and so if we can kind of go up until we turn red, drop down the smidge, and then we'll try to go in. Up too high. Alright. Okay, so we've patched that off. Great. And for the front is going to have to be, I think what we'll do is we'll do a combination of some of these, and so let's get this pillar out of the way. I can't see what I'm doing here. Okay, so see those two are touching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this pillar first to see if I can't put these up top, and we'll see how high I can go. I can't go high enough. That's fine. We'll just do a second pillar. There we go. And anyway, yeah, so what I had to do was I just reselected my game, or restarted my game. Actually restarted my whole computer, and seemed to help. I've been able to select things a little bit easier. Okay, so we can't go too high, but we want to go in, right? So I think we're not going to have the success that we want, per se. Okay. So where does it go? I can tell already that that isn't even touching the wall. If you guys can see me right now, I got my tongue sticking out, and I'm really concentrating on just barely tapping my movement button to try to get that placed. Yeah, see, that looks like poop crap. Looks like junk. I don't know what we're gonna do there. Let's try one at a time. Maybe we can position one at a time, and maybe that'll help. So Nobody says we have to put them both in at the same time, right? Raise that up. Whoa, slow down there, little Richard. Well, for crying out loud. Alright, so let's see what one does. We might have a tad bit more success with one. See, that is really close right there. Yeah, see? Oh, yeah, yeah. Gary Likey. So I have another idea for this. Let's use this. Looks like we use some plywood pieces to patch that up. And so now we've actually got a cross piece. And yeah, so when I concentrate, I apparently stick my tongue out. I just noticed that while I was trying to put this in prior to, and so it's kind of funny. Okay, so yes, this one might be a tad bit more difficult, just due to more things to collide with. I see that looks okay. I like that. So we've sealed that in. Okay, I've got one more idea for support. And I've never tried this, but this was something that I've been thinking about for quite a while. And so I want to try putting a piece of ball track in as a support. I don't know how that will work, but we're going to try it. Let's just see what happens, and we will kind of go from there. So so it would probably work. Yeah, see, if this was longer, this would probably work. But it's not longer, and in reality I don't need a support. I mean, I've got this thing about as tall as I can make it, so. But I think the theory is sound. And I may have seen somebody talk about doing this. I've never done it myself. But I will be using this someplace. Someplace I will be using this as some angle bracing for some overhangs or something. So, but not at the moment. Alright. So we have completely sealed in this building here. It's definitely scrappy. You can't say it's not. And you could, but you'd be wrong. So that looks good for now. I will go ahead and end this one, and we will continue on and see how this little
The end. By George, he's got it. It is the end.